Welcome back to Tales from the PowerAge. Tonight we are talking about Monsters of Rock 1984. Now, this is one that we haven't covered yet. This is part of our series of the mighty Monsters of Rock Doningtons from the 80s. Jan was there on the day.
On his own.
Actually, we're still yet to see the evidence, but he was there. And what a bill, right? AC/DC, Van Halen, Ozzy Osbourne, Gary Moore, Wine Tea, Accept, and Motley Crue. And not forgetting the mighty Tommy Vance. So, fantastic day. So do you want to just go to the press ads first, Gav?
Yep, as you'll be familiar with the other Doningtons we've done, we love to have a look at the old sounds and Melody Maker and how you first got to know about these shows back in the day. And there's a glorious colour version there, and I don't know where that would have been. I guess that's probably more of a poster than a press ad. But we all remember the one on the right because we all had it. We'd all ripped it out of sounds, and the red and black and white. It's iconic. I mean, that is one of the best Donington lineups as far as how the bands look, and I mean, it's just sets your soul on fire. It's so good. So yeah, that's
unbelievable lineup.
Yeah.
And Jam, you were at a paper round at the time, and you were looking at all the adverts because you were going.
I think we spoke about this on another one, but the fact that it was sounds that come out weekly on a Thursday, and the fact that they rarely used colour because this is 1984 for God's sake, it had a massive impact. That red on there just made a massive difference. I went into my paper round every week just to look again and see if there'd been another announcement. You'd get to hear on the Friday Rock Show any new announcement, but I'd had an inkling that I might be able to get permission from my parents at age 14 to go to this. And as each band was being announced, I do actually have all of the press clippings for each announcement that was made that I literally cut out of sounds. And it was just immense, just so exciting. Each band that got announced, just more and more exciting. And it was shaping up to be the biggest. It was the fifth Donington Monsters of Rock, and it was shaping up to just be massive.
It was massive. And of course, the second time that AC/DC had headlined. So really interesting and great to see Van Halen as well. And they didn't play the UK very much at that point, hardly at all. So if we just go on to the programme, Gav.
Also mentioning digging into the kind of the.
Go on into the art. Yeah,
it's definitely before they had a kind of they'd settled on a look for Monsters of Rock, because you've got the Monsters of Rock writing at the top there, looking kind of Art Deco and kind of very different to how it looks every year since. And then they don't have the kind of cohesive look across everything. As Dill mentioned, there's the programme. And apart from an ape that doesn't look anything like the ape on the poster or the T-shirt,
which is dreadful.
They've got the logos don't match. Nothing looks the same, and there's not even any band logos on the front of the program. So it's cool because it's these days everything is so defined and set in stone. But it's really weird to look back and see stuff that it's all kind of just put together at the last minute by the looks of things.
Weird. Couple of things from the program, different to the latter programs. One thing that is the same is the obligatory map of.
Brilliant.
But there was none of the sort of forward that you got in some of the later programs. It just
no toilets on the map either.
No, probably not. The forest at the back.
There's
nice biogs on the back about bands, etc. As you go through. I think there's a couple of things that stand out from the program, which is interesting. Motley Crue are not the last band in the program, so it follows the lineup until you get to Motley Crue, and then we have YMT and Accept, which I thought was quite interesting. So, whether they initially planned them to be further up the bill, who knows? But that's quite interesting. Of course, in the middle, there's a little bit about, as always, in these old programs, there's the merch sheet, which we love with the official T-shirts. And if you wanted to buy this program on the day, it'd cost you 3 of your finest English pounds. £3. It's outrageous.
How much was the ticket?
Probably a tenner, I'm guessing. Let's have a look.
Exactly. That's a third of the price of the ticket was the program.
Yeah.
Those days.
£11 in advance, £12 on the day. £11.
Whilst talking about the bands and the lineup, as far as Motley Crue are concerned, they were the new kids on the block, and for me personally, they were the only shit band playing. We've done sorry, but I like Motley Crue now, but
you liked Accept, did you? Did you like Accept?
Yeah, they were very popular. They were metal, and they were big. They had
certainly were metal.
A lot of people knew about them. Y&T had toured with DC, and they were well known. And then you had the top four. I mean, there was some big bands, but Motley Crue, I would imagine, they were the ones. You know, the people, the powers that be were like, let's get them. I don't know who their management were, but getting them on that bill was immense.
Doc McGee was their manager.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether he was at that point or not, I don't know, but I'm guessing he would have been.
Getting them on there. The other thing that we've got to mention, if I'd be foolish not to, for anyone that obviously knew us back in the day, we all went to school together. And I had the bright idea of writing the 18th of August. Anyone know what I'm about to say? I wrote the 18th of August on my Adidas school bag that I carried around school with me. I don't know when it was. It was a long time before this was
Rich bastard. I only had a Gola bag.
Before I'd even, I think, asked my mum if I'd be able to go, I'd put 18th of August, and that was the D-Day that I was going to get permission to go to this gig. And yeah, had to spend about 6 months explaining to people, it's the day I'm going to my first Donington Monsters of Rock. Luckily, my mother agreed and said, yes, I could go as long as my brother looked after me, which he said he would, which is good.
He said
we'll come on to that later.
Yeah, we'll come on to that as we go through. Alas, I wasn't allowed to go. I was desperate to go. I was allowed to go to football. I used to go to football all over the show. Tuesday night to Everton and Portsmouth, and there was fighting every other weekend. But for some reason, my parents had in their mind that to go to a rock festival was like the worst thing you could possibly do. And yet I was going all over the country as a young nipper. Being in a minibus, violence.
In a minibus, Burnley and stuff. Like, whoa.
Oh, anyway, enough of that. So let's move on to the merch, Gav.
Yeah. So this T-shirt is kind of frozen in our memories because Jammy had it, didn't you?
Yeah, that one on the left. Yeah, it's one of the greatest T-shirts ever.
Yeah,
and everyone will notice that Ozzy isn't actually on that T-shirt.
Yeah, this is a revelation. I never really put two and two together, but yeah, the T-shirts must have been done in advance of the announcement of young Oswald.
Ozzy was very much announced as an actual genuine special guest to be a 7th band. And there was a lot of what the heck? We never have 7 bands. What's going on? 7 bands? And the thing I loved with that T-shirt, it had all the previous lineups on the back, and that's absolutely awesome and cool. I really loved that. And yeah, there were never 7. There was sometimes 5, 6, but not 7 bands. And especially as it was Ozzy Osbourne, who, being British, Donington Monsters of Rock, is obviously he's massive worldwide, but he was a god-like figure.
They can't have had any difficulty selling tickets for this one.
No. That's why there was no reason. There was no reason to get him on except for him to play in front of 60, 70,000 people on a
probably just being pushed by Sharon to get onto an amazing bill.
Yeah. And it's just brilliant that we were around.
Allegedly, Gav.
Well, no, fair play to her. She's a good manager for him.
Yeah.
And we don't quite know where the other image comes from, whether that's the front or a back of a T-shirt, but I found it and it seems to be legit, so I put it on the.
Yeah, it's interesting, that one.
Axe Heroes Unite.
Our good friend Leon, he also went. This was his first concert, Jam, and a couple of things he said. It was just a fest of guitar heroes. So you think about
there you go, Axe Heroes.
Playing, of course, Angus, Eddie, Jake E. Lee. I mean, Dave
Gary Moore, Dave Menike.
I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Band. Don't
Mick
forget
Mars.
Dave.
Mick Mars.
Anyway, let's carry on through some of the T-shirts. I used to have this one without the dates on the back, so I had a white baseball short, Raglan as they're called.
Absolutely love that T-shirt.
Which was amazing. Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it?
And then, do you remember seeing this, Jam, at the time?
Thing is, I've seen that one so many times since.
Yeah. Was it in the program, Joe?
Do you know what? I don't think it is, actually.
No, I don't know. Yeah, if anyone knows whether this was for sale on the day, can you message below? Because I'm not sure.
In the program, Gav, it's just the basic Donington T-shirts, not the band shirts.
Okay.
So no.
And then there's an Aussie one that I found as well, which seems to look legit.
Yeah.
Obviously with the European dates as well.
Yes, great T-shirt as well. That one.
Yeah. And then, just to prove that the main man was actually there with his Instamatic wind on camera.
I took a lot of pictures.
Brilliant picture on the left. Don't know so much about that one on the bottom.
This is the best. This is the best of the best.
Picture of a white screen. I
love the Cortina estate. No camping, and there it is with the tents next to it.
That was our set. That was our setup. That was, we went in 2 cars. We put 3 tents up when we first got there. It was pretty organised considering. My bro was like 19. There were him and 3 of his mates, and I took a mate. There was 2 of us. Put tents up. I was amazed. It's like, whoa, really, really organised, really cool. They just couldn't stop laughing how they were pulling up, and I was saying, but there's signs everywhere. Kept saying no camping. Don't worry about that. We camp. Everyone camps. He said because I think the year before they hadn't took any tents or anything, and they just ended up getting a right old mess. And they thought they were being really big and grown up taking tents, which is absolutely brilliant. And that picture was taken the very next morning. You'll see no one has a shirt on, but they were sat down because they cooked a nice bit of breakfast. This was that was the day out. That was the very next morning. So
that's actually a picture of your tent, is it?
That's our camp. Yeah, that's our
tent. Oh, brilliant! That's superb.
The red. No, that's me trundling off to take a picture.
I love it. That's awesome, mate. Well done.
Yeah, it does look good.
No rain either. Must have been. Was it a scorcher? Was it a scorcher that year, Jam?
It was the hottest day ever in the whole of my life.
No sun, no rain, no toilets.
No rain, no toilets. I didn't have a
drink. Didn't worry about the toilets. You didn't have to have a toilet in those days. You had a bottle.
You had a bottle, yeah, and a bottle in front of you.
So let's go into the set list, Gav. So initially, Motley Crue.
Yeah, there's loads of footage of them backstage, isn't there? Of this.
Yeah,
I put the backstage stuff in because you see a lot of the the banging his head on the table, and there was a good long interview with them, which we'll come to later. But yeah, they were fully entrenched in their original look.
Yeah.
And I don't imagine they went down particularly well.
No,
Jamo, did they not?
No, because everyone's into metal, and that was a new thing. And there was a lot of people that were going year on year. This was the 5th one, don't forget. And there, it's like, what have we got here? And I think the famous footage saying that when they were saying about they got a lot of shit thrown at them, and some guy had taken the time to take some liver, chopped some liver and threw it at him. So that's great. And the famous quotes when you see them talking on YouTube and that, and they say, "Hey, whether people want to get close to us to hug us or get close to us to kick our heads in, we don't care." So they were doing and saying all the right stuff, and they came out and they've got some decent songs there. Which if I was watching that now, I'd probably go, "Yeah, brilliant." They went on. They rocked hard. I think someone else we know that went from school said they were really good, so he obviously liked them. But yeah, they weren't for me. I still took up position. There's only one stage, don't forget. We're 1984 Donington, so I remember initially just in front of the sound tower. Sort of you sat in between the bands. It wasn't rammed at that stage. It was chilled. It was a lovely day. It was good. It was good to get used to where we were at, but I didn't pay him a shitload of attention, to be honest.
Look how skinny Vince Neil is in that picture.
It's amazing, doesn't it?
Isn't it? Yeah.
I had to look twice then.
Yeah. Okay, so then it was Accept.
That was a bit more what you'd be expecting. It was a bit more, I was going to say, a bit more balls to the wall. But they'd got a lot of coverage. They were getting played on Friday Rock Show quite a bit.
Yeah, definitely.
They stepped out. They were the opposite of what we've just seen. Just still leathered up, metaling. They went down well, and I think people were looking forward to them, and they put on a good show. So yeah, they did all right. There's
a drumming story about Fast as a Shark. I heard Charlie Benante from Anthrax saying this only this week, that when he was trying to join Anthrax, because I had a previous drummer, they went over to was it Scott's house maybe, and said, "What do you know? What can we play?" And he goes, "I bet you can't play Fast as a Shark because it's like really fast double bass drumming."
Pretty fast song.
He went immediately into it and got the job there and then because he could play Fast as a Shark. It's a classic.
Okay, cool. Let's Accept. And then it was Wine Tea, I think.
Yeah, we know how much on that. This is what got me started me on the road, because, of course, Wine Tea were the first band that I'd seen on the 3rd of December 1983. They were the first band I saw off my own steam, just actually going to see. And Gav's kindly, I have managed to actually recover some of my special records for this very occasion.
I think I bought you that, chap.
It was the era. I think I might have it twice, to be honest.
Oh, there you go.
No
This is
patch.
the era.
No patch.
This is the era of the 12-inch. And if you're doing a big gig, the record company will slap out a 12-inch to go alongside the album to make a couple of extra spondoolies.
Yeah.
But these were always going to go down well because they'd been putting in a lot of time touring over here anyway, and they'd literally only just been in December and done a medium-sized theatres venues. So for them to be third from bottom, if you like, it was a good band to have on.
Good, yeah.
And I
Coming on with Mean Streak, yes, please.
They want a great song to start with. Yeah. Mean Street, Bar and Boogie is a good song. Lipstick and Leather is a good song. And to end with Forever, which is one of their greatest songs ever. Yeah. Immense. They've still got time to put a guitar solo in. It's the third band on the bill. Love it.
Oh, 100%. You're going to, because Dave is the I think,
he's top notch. Most underrated. Absolutely.
And guitarist of our generation. He never features, and he should. And we all saw him together, didn't we, at Hard Rock Hell up in North Wales. And he just that was just a few years ago, and he just rocked out so hard, and he's just so good.
It was
The tone of his voice and the tone of his guitar, exemplary. No, great. That just goes to show they came out, except to just been on all the leathers. They came out all dressed up. They got a great reception. They went down really, really well, and I loved them.
Brilliant.
Again, I'd gradually moved a little bit nearer the stage for each band. So again, getting a little bit nearer here, ready for Y&T, and really good.
Cool. Then we had the maestro,
Gaza.
Gary Moore. I mean, what a guitarist this guy was, and he was on fire. I mean, this was probably outside of Thin Lizzy. This was the peak of his career, wasn't it? Really, in terms of some of the shows that he was playing. So, Jan, what were your memories from this?
It's for his rock. Obviously, he went on to become the most amazing blues guitar, one of the most amazing blues guitarists. A little bit out of our genre, but for him and his metal rock world, he was hitting. Victims of the Future is just an absolutely immense record for many, like me, consider it his very, very best. And he went down a storm. A lot of people back then played the guitar. Lots of people in the crowd would love playing, and Gary Moore was brilliant. He was ours. He was British. He came out onto the stage dressed like a great big tomato, and it was just so random for him to do that and come out like that. But he just tore the place apart, rocking every night. So, and then into Wishing Well, but then with Murder in the Skies, which is so heavy, he's just brilliant. And as far as there was a lot of talk about whether he played Parisian Walkways because it's a certain, it's an iconic song, and a lot of people didn't know if he played it, and then he actually did it as an encore. But everyone loved it. Everyone just absolutely loved it, and he played it so darn well.
We went to see him we all went to see him a year later at Oxford Apollo. We were on the front row, and that was a great gig as well.
Yeah, brilliant.
Okay, so that's Gary Moore, and then another legend of the scene, Ozzy Osbourne with Jake. So this was an interesting period for Ozzy for sure. But I know you were really looking forward to Ozzy Jam at the time, and he'd released some brilliant albums up until this point, hadn't he? Let's be honest.
When he came out, there was such expectation because the whole thing had been built. It was AC/DC and Van Halen, wasn't it? The two real giants, and the guitar, the Axe Heroes thing, Eddie, Angus. And then Ozzy slips in there with a special guest slot, and he just ripped the place apart. It was just brilliant. It's in my top 5 best gigs I've ever been to, best performances of a band in my whole life. And there's many people that will say the same, because I don't think it was totally expected for him to literally just come out and rip the place apart like that.
And he played the 2 best songs off the latest album, Rock and Roll
Brilliant.
Rebel and Bark at the Moon.
Yeah.
In my opinion, anyway.
And they're Rock and Roll Rebel's so good. That time, you start looking down that. I mean, you start looking down the list of songs. It was immortalised by Friday Rock Show at the radio, at the recording studio there, the outside broadcast, and TV on Thomas Vance on the radio played it a few weeks later. I think he did 6 or 7 songs. I know because I recorded it onto a cassette tape like we all would have, and I then just kept re-listening to it over and over, and it was just immense. So that when you've got that backs up your memories, and I spent a lot of time re-listening to it again and again, hence me believing that it was out of this world.
Yeah.
And it was. It's just, he had the he had the crowd in the palm of his hands. Never had Let's Go Effing Crazy had such a response from such a crowd. No, honestly, it blew me away.
To be fair, it must have been quite difficult for Van Halen to come on after that, to be fair, because the crowd must have been going mental.
Yeah, so partisan British.
Yeah. That's the thing. It was Ozzy. It was one of our. He's one of your own. Deal talking about.
Yeah, returning hero.
He's one of our own. It's Ozzy Osbourne, for God's sake. There'd be something in the press or in the sounds or every other week. There'd be something else about him. Before you know it, every now and then he'd shave his head or something happened with Sharon or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he was getting arrested at the Alamo for urinating, and they were all sort of. This was a time in his career. You probably safely say it was probably slightly out of control. To be fair, yeah.
Getting on with Motley Crue, so
yeah. And if you've watched The Wire, you'll probably realise why.
All the stories that came out, and you thought, well, that must be rubbish. And when you look back and you find out it was all true, it's mad, isn't it? It's just scary what the guy was.
Opposite end of crazy is Bob Daisley, and he was on both these albums.
Yeah,
good show.
Nice.
Well, nice segue. That.
So you got a drum solo. Who played drums for this?
Tommy Aldridge on the album.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was.
What, on Bark of the Moon?
Yeah.
Bark of the Moon.
Yeah. Okay, good. That's Ozzy. So that took us to the all-conquering heroes from LA, Van Halen. So I mean, it looked great, but again, in a different sort of way to Motley Crue. They were very American, and certainly this video has just been released on YouTube.
And they can play.
Probably about 12 months ago.
Yeah.
And Dave looks amazing, and he's wearing he's got a big summer like girl's hat on that you'd expect to see at Henley Regatta, and a big cape where he comes on with, and talking about the partisan crowd and everything. Jam, I think they won him over pretty quickly, didn't they?
Well, the thing was, these were you don't want to say freak show, but everyone wanted to. This is what everyone wanted to see. Everyone's seen DC umpteen times, you know what I mean? Everyone's seen Ozzy, and they're great and amazing. This was Van Halen. They were coming in town. The thing for me that freaks me out is that obviously they'd just done 1984. I mean, you could say that like the most commercial, it had keyboards and everything in it, and yet I don't think they'd ever been as heavy as this live. They were so heavy,
House of Pain, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, but so heavy and so metal, and they were almost doing what the hell they were just doing what the hell they wanted. It didn't matter. It wasn't your normal regular band doing a gig. And there's always been the footage of the Hot for Teacher and the live that had been taken from the whistle test, and it was just in the last few months it came out extended highlights. I know a lot of people wanted to go, let's get it watched before, in case it gets taken down. And it was a real eye opener, because it brought so much back to me, because he's so used to seeing the small amount of footage that we had before, and they were just on fire. They were so heavy, and the place was going absolutely bonkers.
The crowd.
You look at that set list, and they play Hot for Teacher, which has got a drum solo at the beginning, and then they finish Hot for Teacher, and then there's a drum solo. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And then On Fire, which is absolutely mental.
Watching that video, the only disappointment was the bass solo. You know, there was just no need, was there?
Excuse me?
Agreed. Yeah.
Dude,
I know. What the hell? But just shows you.
I mean, Jam, you famously talk about the fact you can't stand cover versions. And
I know.
What were your view on these?
Yeah, they probably shouldn't have played "Oh Pretty Woman." To be
do what
fair.
they want.
Yeah,
they can do what they want.
I'd have loved it.
What they want. I don't care.
It's way better than the original, anyway.
I mean, personally, I never knew. I always just thought both of those songs. I always just thought of Van Halen, because I
knew you'd say that, because you never knew that Pretty Woman was a cover version. Obviously, you really got me was a cover version.
Well, I heard You Really Got Me. I used to hear it when we were out, and I'd say, why are they playing a shit version with rubbish guitars? Why would you play? You know what I mean?
Because he invented the heavy guitar sound.
Yeah,
indeed.
Right.
Indeed. Well played.
But no, it was just they
Probably the first heavy metal band in the world, the Kinks.
They are Van Halen, and they do what they want. And it turned out it was the only time I ever bloody saw them.
Yeah, so, incredible. They didn't play many times with Dave, did they?
I never saw Van Halen live.
Okay, good. That's Van Halen. Let's get on to the mighty AC/DC. Look at Angus there.
Got some hair there, isn't he?
Absolutely immense. Cherry red SG. Awesome. Jam?
So to set the scene, it's been a long day. There's been 6 proper metal bands. I hadn't drank anything all day because you didn't drink water back then. He literally just didn't. It didn't happen. It wasn't a thing. It's the hottest day of the year. I
thought you were. No, hang on a minute. I thought you were allowed half a lager.
No, at this point, I was so desperate. I was in a right mess. I was so hot. I hadn't seen my brother since I think
Tuesday.
It was Accept. It's about 1:30. We lost it because I wanted to see Y&T. So I said, I'm going to go and see Y&T a bit nearer the front. He was like, oh. So I left him at that point with my little mate, Alan. And but at this point, I left from the front. I went to the back. I was like, oh, my gosh, it's so hot. Bumped into Stuart, the owner of the Cortino estate. I said, can you get me a drink? And he said, yes. So, of course, he got me a drink, a 2-litre bottle of lager, because that's what you bought. So I got pissed. I was so thirsty.
End of a perfect day.
I had a few sweets of this. And I just downed most of it. And I was like, oh, yeah. I was just basically chilled, pissed, feeling a lot better. Rehydrate with lager. It's always advisable. I've lived to that ever since then. And yeah, we went to the back. And at this point, it had been a really, really hot day. But of course, it was getting darker. The fires that were lit, there were so many fires.
Well, thanks for remembering that.
It was amazing. It was a real vibe. Everyone was just so happy and just so chilled. And I was happy and chilled, stood back a bit. And then AC/DC came on stage. Guns for Hire. We've spoken about Guns for Hire before.
Yeah.
I love that. I love it as an opening. I love an opening track. And it's just...
Yeah, and don't forget, this is the Flick of the Switch tour. And then he played 2 songs off the album.
Yeah. But only 16 songs in total. So you look at some of the later set lists, well, I'd say later set lists, they're about to come on tour again this year, which we'll be telling you all about. But this was quite not too dissimilar from the set that we saw on the Fly on the Wall tour, which was a year and a half later. 16 songs. But yeah, Guns for Hire, I don't think they've ever played that after that tour. And interestingly, this was the only date of this album that they did in the UK.
Yeah.
Absolutely nuts.
I think also, we've spoken about this before, if you're at a festival and you've got a band that everyone loves, I don't know any rock fans that don't love AC/DC. It just opens the whole place up to everyone just having a really great time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And the whole place, whether you're at the front, whether you're on the barrier, whether you're at the very back, or whether you're in between, everyone was in. This is the thing I remember. I was being a 14-year-old with my mate, and we were literally, and it's just like, what a day. And it's like, what a day. Oh, it's AC/DC. Hanging out track after track, and everyone was a winner, obviously.
I don't think I've ever heard Flick of the Switch live.
No, I don't think I have either. I'm just trying to remember if I've seen all of this on YouTube. I think I might have done. So I think I think I've got it on a bootleg somewhere, stacked up in the record collection in there. But yeah, it's not unusual for those albums between Flick and the Switch and most of the albums up until the present day. There's many songs that only get debuted on that tour and never played again.
Yeah,
interestingly. So. Anyway, brilliant, great to see, Jam. You were really lucky, and I've told you that many times. That
we are all very, very jealous.
It's not goes on about it though.
You lot do mention it a lot.
He's never gone on about it. He's never gone on about it ever.
You lot do bang on a lot about it. But the great thing with this, AC/DC, they put a great show on. I don't know how the hell I found my way back to the right car park and to the tent, but I did. Me and my mate managed to get the kit, woke up the next morning. I remember bro waking me up with a bacon roll, and he's like, did you have a good day? I'm like, yeah, it's great, thanks. So I didn't see you after, like, what was that? Was that Y&T? I'm like, yeah. He said, you enjoyed it though? Yeah. And I said to these guys, then we chilled out, packed up, went home, walked in the house next day. And I remember my mum saying, did you have a nice time? Oh, hello. Did you have a nice time at your festival? Kevin look after you? I went, yeah, cheers, Mum. That was just like it. And we actually had a discussion just over a year ago we were talking about this. I was talking to my brother in front of my mum, and she then found out she's like aged 85 or something. We were chatting about because Kevin said, he said, 1984. You didn't go to Donington that year. I said, yeah, you looked after me. Don't you remember? And he went, I don't even remember seeing you. So hold on. I remember you a bacon sandwich. Yeah, he said, you were in the car on the way home. And my mum sat and said, Kevin, I hope you looked after him. And he went, it was just such
He's been fine.
All these years later, yeah, he made it through.
Brilliant, Jam. Great memories. So, for those of you that were yearning for those memories, for any kids watching this, for anyone that wasn't alive back then, which is probably quite a few, there'll be lots of people watching this that were alive. Everybody that didn't go got their fill of 1984 Donington from the whistle test, and there was a brilliant documentary. It's about 20 minutes long. If you've not seen it, go onto YouTube and check it out. It's a really, really great watch. It's just, it captures the time. Andy Kershaw, he's a big country buff now. He did the documentary, and it's just brilliant. And actually, it's like a postcard from Donington '84, and it's great.
The thing was, at the time when I saw it, when I actually watched this, I was like, why didn't they send someone that was into metal? Because some of what he said was a bit tongue in cheek. Going, well, I've got my leather.
He did loads of tongue in cheek shit. Yeah.
At the time, it annoyed me, and I was like, bloody hell, what's wrong with him? Why don't they send someone that's into metal? But as I've watched it so many times, there's so many hilarious, so many iconic moments. When talking earlier, when they found a Perrier bottle or something outside and took it in and said, I accuse you, Van Halen, all this. And it was really funny. Interviewing Brian and talking about, but he took his air guitar book. Do you like the equipment? Had a picture of plug holes because it was just, some of is what he did dropped like a lead, but it's iconic. And
there's some great footage of the bottle fights, which you don't see that anymore, but it really takes you back to anyone that went to festivals in the mid 80s. Look at that.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's
featured in the woods there that we've all visited, along with the bears, to do various ablutions.
And as he's going through it, they're sort of interlinking between the two interviews between Van Halen and AC/DC. And there's a bit anything from AC/DC, and there's a plug hole there with no amp next to it. And Brian's there with his pint. He's probably just saying that very thing there. Said, a couple of plug holes does us fine. It's brilliant, absolute genius.
Yeah.
But anyway, so look, that's Donington '84. Jam, brilliant. Thanks for sharing your memories. Hope you all enjoyed
mate.
That.
Brilliant.
Really, really great. Sadly, we've got no footage to share of that year because for those of you that weren't around in those days, it was an instant. It was a little wind on camera, and you take 24 pictures and then rush to Boots and get them processed, which was mental, really, when you think about it. But lots of other stuff on the live channel, so please check that out. More recently, Judas Priest, and Saxon. So anyone that's watching that, I'm sure will have an interest in that too. If you want to see what we're up to, you can go onto Facebook, where we are on Tales from the PowerAge. We're on X, or formerly Twitter, on talesfromthepowerage.com at TTFTPR. We're on that daily, so give us a shout if you want to engage in some of the stuff that we're sharing. We're online at www.talesfromthepowerage.com, and you can get merch from redbubble.com merch. Now, just a quick reminder, please ring the Hell's Bell, which is pretty apt given that we've been covering AC/DC today. So that really helps the algorithms. Please give us a sub. We'd really, really appreciate that too. But if you can't be bothered doing any of that, give us a like, get involved in the comments, and just tell us your memories from that year if you were there. And if anyone could confirm that Jam was actually there, that would be awesome as well, because we've all still got a doubt that he was really there, to be honest. So
my brother denies it, so who knows?
Exactly. So there is the problem. Anyway, look, hope you enjoyed that. Have a great time, guys. See you soon. Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.